Question 1. A project manager is leading a large, complex infrastructure project that involves multiple contractors and spans several years. Due to unforeseen environmental regulations, a critical path activity is delayed by 3 months, impacting the project's overall completion date. The project manager must inform stakeholders about the revised schedule and its implications. Which document is most appropriate for formally communicating changes to the project's baselines? A. Project Management Plan. B. Project Charter. C. Change Log. D. Performance Report. Answer: A. Project Management Plan. The Project Management Plan is the comprehensive document that integrates and consolidates all subsidiary management plans and baselines, including the schedule baseline, cost baseline, and scope baseline. When a critical path activity delay significantly impacts the project's overall completion date, it necessitates an update to the schedule baseline, which is formally integrated into the project management plan through a change control process. This plan serves as the centralized source of truth for the project, ensuring all stakeholders are aware of the current approved direction and changes. Remember, any authorized adjustment to the project baselines means an update to the overarching project management plan. Question 2. A Scrum team is consistently struggling with accurately estimating user stories during sprint planning, leading to frequent scope creep within sprints and missed sprint goals. The product owner expresses frustration, feeling that commitments are not being met. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master to take? A. Facilitate a more detailed backlog refinement session to ensure stories are definition of ready compliant. B. Coach the team on the importance of adhering to their sprint commitments and completing all stories. C. Suggest the team use a different estimation technique, such as story points instead of ideal days. D. Work with the product owner to reduce the number of stories pulled into the sprint to improve predictability. Answer: A. Facilitate a more detailed backlog refinement session to ensure stories are definition of ready compliant. The core issue described, consistent misestimation and missed sprint goals due to scope creep within sprints, often points to a lack of clarity or insufficient understanding of the user stories before sprint planning. Ensuring stories meet a definition of ready during backlog refinement means they are clear, testable, estimated, and small enough, which directly addresses the root cause of inaccurate estimation and subsequent mid-sprint scope creep. While other options might seem helpful, improving the readiness of work before it enters the sprint is crucial for predictable sprint execution. A well-refined backlog is the foundation for accurate estimation and successful sprints. Question 3. A project's CPI is 1.15 and its SPI is 0.85. The project manager is reviewing these metrics with the sponsor, who is concerned about the project's progress. Which statement best summarizes the project's current status and potential implications? A. The project is under budget and ahead of schedule, indicating efficient performance. B. The project is over budget and behind schedule, requiring corrective action. C. The project is under budget but behind schedule, suggesting potential resource underutilization or scope issues. D. The project is over budget but ahead of schedule, indicating potential gold plating. Answer: C. The project is under budget but behind schedule, suggesting potential resource underutilization or scope issues. The Cost Performance Index, CPI, and Schedule Performance Index, SPI, are key earned value management metrics. A CPI of 1.15 greater than 1 indicates the project is performing under budget, meaning it is getting more work done for less cost than planned. Conversely, an SPI of 0.85, less than 1, signifies the project is behind schedule, meaning less work has been completed than planned by this point. This combination often suggests that while costs are controlled, the delay might be due to inefficient resource allocation, insufficient resources, or perhaps scope that is harder to complete than initially thought. It's crucial to investigate the underlying causes of the scheduled delay, even if the budget is favorable. Question 4. During project execution, a team member identifies a novel technical solution that could significantly enhance the project's final deliverable beyond the original scope and potentially reduce future maintenance costs, but it requires substantial research and development. The project manager recognizes the potential long-term value, but also the immediate risks. What is the most appropriate immediate action for the project manager to take? A. Instruct the team member to proceed with developing a prototype of the new solution to assess feasibility. B. Initiate a formal change request to analyze the impact and gain stakeholder approval for the enhanced scope. C. Document the idea as a potential future improvement or lesson learned for subsequent phases/projects. D. Convene a meeting with key stakeholders to discuss the benefits and risks of integrating the new solution. Answer: B. Initiate a formal change request to analyze the impact and gain stakeholder approval for the enhanced scope. The project management plan outlines the change control process, which is critical for managing any proposed adjustments to the project's baselines, especially scope. A novel technical solution that significantly enhances the project's final deliverable beyond the original scope constitutes a potential change to the scope baseline. The most appropriate immediate action is to initiate a formal change request, which triggers a structured process to analyze the impact on scope, schedule, cost, quality, and risk, and then present it to the change control board or relevant stakeholders for approval. This ensures that any deviation from the approved plan is thoroughly vetted and sanctioned, preventing unauthorized gold plating or uncontrolled expansion of the project. Question 5. A large-scale organizational transformation project, managed using a hybrid approach, is nearing its planned completion. The project has delivered several valuable increments, and the remaining scope is well-defined. However, ongoing organizational resistance to adopting the new processes has become apparent, threatening the realization of the project's intended benefits post-handover. Which PMBOK 7th performance domain is primarily at risk and requires the project manager's immediate focus? A. Planning performance domain. B. Project work performance domain. C. Measurement performance domain. D. Value performance domain. Answer: D. Value performance domain. The value performance domain in the PMBOK 7th edition focuses on ensuring the project delivers the expected business benefits and value, which goes beyond merely completing the scope. The problem described indicates that while deliverables are being produced, delivered several valuable increments. The organizational resistance to adopting the new processes threatens the realization of the project's intended benefits. This means the project might complete its scope, but fail to achieve its strategic objectives or deliver the promised value to the organization. A project is only truly successful if it delivers value, and overcoming adoption challenges is key to value realization. Question 6. A project team is implementing a complex software system. During testing, a critical bug is discovered that, if not fixed, could lead to significant data corruption after deployment. The defect requires substantial rework, pushing the project past its scheduled delivery date. The project manager reviews the project's risk register and finds that this specific type of bug was identified as a low probability, high impact risk, but no specific mitigation strategy was developed beyond general quality assurance. What is the most appropriate immediate action for the project manager to take? A. Update the risk register to reflect the actual occurrence and assess the effectiveness of the response. B. Convene an urgent meeting with the development team and key stakeholders to define a containment plan and corrective action. C. Implement the contingency plan that was allocated for general technical issues. D. Escalate the issue to the steering committee, requesting additional budget and time to resolve the defect. Answer: B. Convene an urgent meeting with the development team and key stakeholders to define a containment plan and corrective action. When a high-impact risk materializes into an issue, especially one threatening significant data corruption, and delaying the project, immediate action is critical. The most appropriate first step is to bring together the relevant parties, the development team for technical expertise, and key stakeholders, example product owner, operations, to understand the impact and agree on a path forward. This meeting aims to quickly define a containment plan, to prevent further damage, and determine the corrective action to fix the defect. While updating the risk register and escalating are important follow-up steps, defining the how to fix it takes precedence. Question 7. A critical component for a product development project has been sourced from a sole supplier. Midway through the project, the supplier announces a 6-month delay in delivery due to unforeseen raw material shortages, jeopardizing the project's release date. The project manager reviews the risk register and finds that this specific risk was identified and a contingency reserve was set aside, but no alternative supplier was identified or pre-qualified. What is the project manager's best next step in managing this issue? A. Utilize the contingency reserve to absorb the financial impact of the delay and update the project schedule. B. Revisit the original business case with stakeholders to determine if the project's objectives are still viable given the new timeline. C. Initiate a crash or fast-tracking strategy on other project activities to mitigate the overall schedule impact. D. Engage immediately with the supplier to explore all possible options for partial or expedited deliveries and simultaneously begin identifying alternative suppliers. Answer: D. Engage immediately with the supplier to explore all possible options for partial or expedited deliveries and simultaneously begin identifying alternative suppliers. When a high-impact risk materializes, the focus shifts from prevention to response and mitigation. Since no alternative supplier was pre-qualified, the project manager must immediately attempt to salvage the situation with the current supplier by exploring options like partial shipments or expedited delivery, while simultaneously initiating the search and qualification process for alternative suppliers to avoid further delays or reliance on a single point of failure. This proactive and two-pronged approach addresses the immediate crisis while also seeking long-term solutions, demonstrating effective issue management. While other options like utilizing contingency reserves or crashing are relevant, they are either reactive or secondary to directly addressing the supply chain disruption itself. Question 8. A project manager is leading a global project with distributed teams across different time zones. Communication effectiveness has been identified as a persistent challenge, leading to misunderstandings, duplicated efforts, and missed deadlines. Which of the following communication methods would be most effective for ensuring shared understanding and fostering collaboration among the diverse team members in this scenario? A. Relying primarily on asynchronous communication channels like email and project management software comments. B. Scheduling weekly all-hands video conference calls for status updates and open discussion. C. Implementing a daily stand-up meeting for each regional team, followed by a summary email to the global team. D. Utilizing a combination of synchronous and asynchronous channels, prioritizing video conferencing for complex discussions and detailed documentation for decisions. Answer: D. Utilizing a combination of synchronous and asynchronous channels, prioritizing video conferencing for complex discussions and detailed documentation for decisions. Effective communication in distributed teams requires a strategic blend of various methods. Synchronous communication, like video conferencing, is crucial for complex discussions where immediate feedback, nonverbal cues, and brainstorming are vital for achieving shared understanding and building rapport, which directly addresses misunderstandings and duplicated efforts. Asynchronous channels, such as project management software or shared documentation, are essential for conveying information that doesn't require immediate response, providing detailed records of decisions, and allowing team members in different time zones to contribute effectively. This combined approach maximizes efficiency and clarity for diverse teams. Question 9. The project manager is managing a project using an agile approach. The team has completed several sprints, and the product owner is generally satisfied with the increments. However, stakeholders are beginning to express concerns about the overall cost performance, as the team's velocity has not increased as anticipated, and features are taking longer than initially estimated for their story points. What is the most appropriate agile tool or technique for the project manager to use to assess and communicate the project's progress relative to its budget? A. Burn-up chart. B. Velocity chart. C. Earned value management, EVM. D. Release burn-down chart. Answer: C. Earned value management, EVM. While agile metrics like velocity and burn-up/burn-down charts track progress and work remaining, they do not inherently track cost performance against budget. Earned value management, EVM, is a powerful project control methodology that integrates scope, schedule, and cost performance. Even in agile environments, EVM can be adapted by using metrics like story points or features as the earned value to calculate traditional EVM parameters: PV, EV, AC, CPI, SPI. Allowing the project manager to quantitatively assess and communicate the project's cost performance relative to its budget. This provides a comprehensive financial overview that stakeholders are often accustomed to. Question 10. A large software development project is underway using a predictive lifecycle. During monthly status meetings, the project manager notices a recurring pattern. Developers frequently challenge the requirements provided by the business analysts, leading to significant rework and delays. This often stems from a lack of clarity in the initial requirements gathering. Which process groups activities, if improved, would most directly address this recurring issue? A. Planning. B. Executing. C. Monitoring and controlling. D. Closing. Answer: A. Planning. The recurring issue of developers challenging requirements and subsequent rework directly points to deficiencies in the initial definition and detailing of project scope and requirements. These activities are primarily conducted during the planning process group, specifically within processes like plan scope management, collect requirements, define scope, and create WBS. If requirements are not clear, detailed, and validated during planning, it inevitably leads to problems during execution and control. Addressing the root cause in the planning phase by improving requirements clarity would prevent many downstream issues. Question 11. During a project's execution phase, a project team member discovers a significant technical flaw in a key deliverable that, if unaddressed, would render the product unusable for its intended purpose. This flaw was not identified during earlier quality control activities. The project manager needs to ensure this critical issue is resolved promptly and effectively. Which action is the most critical immediate next step for the project manager? A. Update the risk register to reflect the emergence of this new issue. B. Initiate a defect repair request and ensure it is tracked through to resolution. C. Schedule a meeting with the quality assurance team to understand why the flaw was missed. D. Analyze the impact of the flaw on project scope, schedule, and cost baselines. Answer: B. Initiate a defect repair request and ensure it is tracked through to resolution. When a critical flaw is discovered that renders a deliverable unusable, the most immediate and critical action is to formally initiate a defect repair. This ensures the problem is properly documented, assigned for resolution, and tracked until it is fixed and re-verified. While updating the risk register, analyzing impacts, and understanding the root cause are important follow-up activities, the priority is to get the fix underway for the critical issue. This directly addresses the problem and allows the project to move towards delivering a functional product. Question 12. A project manager is reviewing the current state of a project and observes that the team is consistently exceeding the budget for various work packages, despite the project schedule running slightly ahead. The project sponsor is becoming increasingly concerned about the financial health of the project. To accurately determine the project's overall financial health and forecast its likely total cost, which formula should the project manager use? A. Estimate at completion, EAC, equals budget at completion, BAC, / cost performance index, CPI. B. Estimate at completion, EAC, equals actual cost, AC, plus budget at completion, BAC, earned value, EV, C, to complete performance index, TCPI, equals BACEV / BACAC. D. Variance at completion, VAC, equals budget at completion, BAC, estimate at completion, EEC. Answer A. Estimate at completion, EAC, equals budget at completion, BAC, / cost performance index, CPI. To determine the project's overall financial health and forecast its likely total cost, the estimate at completion, EAC, is the key metric. The formula EAC equals BAC / CPI is used when it is assumed that the project's future cost performance will be the same as its past performance, i.e., the current cost performance index, CPI, is a good indicator of future efficiency. This formula provides the most common and generally accepted way to re-estimate the total cost of the project based on current trends. The other EAC formula, AC plus BACEV, is used when past performance is not indicative of future performance, and the new estimate to complete, etc., is essentially the BACEV. TCPI and VHC are different financial metrics. Question 13. A project manager is leading a hybrid project where the software development is agile, but the hardware procurement and integration follow a traditional predictive approach. A major hardware component delivery is delayed, directly impacting the ability of the agile software team to integrate and test their completed increments. This unforeseen delay creates significant uncertainty for the next few sprints. What is the most effective strategy for the project manager to manage this interdependency and reduce uncertainty for the agile team? A. Demand the hardware vendor provide an exact new delivery date and hold them accountable for the delay. B. Shift the agile team's focus to non-hardware dependent features or technical debt and communicate the updated hardware timeline regularly. C. Pause the agile software development until the hardware arrives to avoid further wasted effort or rework. D. Increase the agile team's velocity target to compensate for the hardware delay once it arrives. Answer. B. Shift the agile team's focus to non-hardware dependent features or technical debt and communicate the updated hardware timeline regularly. In a hybrid project with dependencies, when a critical traditional component is delayed, the agile team needs to remain productive and avoid idle time or starting work that will be blocked. The most effective strategy is to adapt by shifting the agile team's focus to tasks that are not dependent on the delayed component, such as working on non-dependent features, refactoring code, or addressing technical debt. Simultaneously, transparent and frequent communication about the updated hardware timeline is crucial to manage expectations and allow for future planning. This approach ensures continued progress and minimizes the negative impact of external dependencies. Question 14. A project manager is reviewing the project performance and notices a consistent pattern of unforeseen technical challenges and scope creep that were not adequately addressed during initial planning. These issues are leading to significant rework and project delays, impacting stakeholder confidence. Which PMBOK 7th performance domain is most directly impacted by this situation, and what should the project manager prioritize? A. Planning performance domain. Prioritize revisiting the scope baseline. B. Measurement performance domain. Prioritize defining key performance indicators. C. Processes performance domain. Prioritize tailoring development processes and practices. D. Uncertainty performance domain. Prioritize enhancing risk identification and response planning. Answer: D. Uncertainty performance domain. Prioritize enhancing risk identification and response planning. The uncertainty performance domain in the PMBOK 7th edition deals with risk and opportunity management. The scenario describes unforeseen technical challenges and scope creep that were not adequately addressed during initial planning, causing significant rework and project delays. These are direct indicators of inadequate management of uncertainty, risks. Therefore, the project manager should prioritize enhancing risk identification and response planning activities within this domain to proactively address potential threats and leverage opportunities. Effectively managing uncertainty is crucial for project predictability and success. Question 15. A project is 75% complete according to the physical work performed. The budget at completion, BAC, is $200,000. The actual cost, AC, to date is $160,000. The earned value, EV, to date is $10,000. SV equals $50,000. B, CV equals $50,000. C, CV equals $10,000. D, CV equals $10,000. SV equals $10,000. Answer: C. CV equals $10,000. To calculate cost variance, CV, subtract actual cost, AC, from earned value, EV. In this scenario, CV equals $150,000, EV, $10,000, indicating the project is currently over budget. To calculate schedule variance, SV, subtract planned value, PV, from earned value, EV. Since the project earned $10,000, this means the project planned to have completed $160,000 worth of work. PV equals $10,000 equals $160,000. Thus, SV equals $150,000. EV, $10,000, indicating the project is behind schedule. The project is both over budget and behind schedule. Question 16. A project manager is leading a global project with a highly virtual team. Due to cultural differences and varying levels of experience, individual team members are struggling to understand how their tasks contribute to the overall project objectives and stakeholder value. This has led to reduced motivation and some duplication of effort. Which PMBOK 7th performance domain is most relevant to addressing these challenges by fostering a shared sense of purpose and contribution? A. Project work performance domain. B. Planning performance domain. C. Team performance domain. D. Measurement performance domain. Answer: C. Team performance domain. The team performance domain focuses on the activities and functions associated with organizing, guiding, and motivating the project team. The described challenges: team members struggling to understand how their tasks contribute to overall objectives, leading to reduced motivation and duplication, directly relate to team effectiveness and cohesion. A project manager needs to nurture a collaborative environment, ensure team members understand their roles and how their efforts contribute to the larger goal, and address cultural differences to improve overall team performance and engagement. Effective team leadership is paramount for project success, especially with distributed teams. Question 17. A large-scale organizational transformation project is approaching its closure phase. The project has successfully delivered all major components, and the final deliverable has been accepted by the primary stakeholders. However, the project manager identifies that the intended benefits, which were explicitly outlined in the business case, have not yet been fully realized across the organization due to slow user adoption and lingering process resistance. Which aspect should the project manager prioritize during project closure to ensure long-term success? A. Archiving all project documentation and releasing team resources. B. Ensuring all contracts are formally closed out and final payments are made. C. Facilitating a robust lessons learned session to capture insights for future projects. D. Developing and executing a comprehensive plan for benefits realization and transition of ownership. Answer: D. Developing and executing a comprehensive plan for benefits realization and transition of ownership. While archiving documentation, closing contracts, and conducting lessons learned are vital activities in the closing process group, the most critical priority for long-term project success, when benefits are not fully realized, is ensuring their actualization. Project success is not merely about completing scope. It's about delivering the intended value. Developing and executing a comprehensive plan for benefits realization and the effective transition of ownership to the operational teams ensures that the project's outputs translate into the desired organizational outcomes and sustained value. This involves ongoing monitoring beyond project closure, often managed by a benefits owner. Question 18. A project manager is leading a highly innovative product development project where the final product specifications are expected to evolve significantly throughout the project lifecycle. The team needs flexibility to adapt to new discoveries and market feedback. Which project lifecycle approach would be most suitable for this project? A. Predictive lifecycle. B. Iterative lifecycle. C. Incremental lifecycle. D. Adaptive lifecycle. Answer: D. Adaptive lifecycle. An adaptive lifecycle, often referred to as Agile, is specifically designed for projects with high levels of change, complexity, and uncertainty, where requirements are likely to evolve rapidly. In such environments, the final product specifications are expected to evolve significantly, making an adaptive approach ideal because it emphasizes continuous feedback, rapid iterations, and constant adjustment to deliver value in small, usable increments. This allows the team to incorporate new discoveries and market feedback regularly, rather than being bound by fixed, upfront requirements. It's about embracing change to deliver the most valuable product. Question 19. A project manager is overseeing a complex 8 integration project. During testing, an integration point with a legacy system fails unexpectedly due to an undocumented system limitation. This was a known low-probability risk, but the impact is now critical, threatening significant delays and cost overruns. The project manager identifies that the risk response plan only included a general contingency reserve, but no specific mitigation for this particular system limitation. What is the most important next step for the project manager to take? A. Engage the legacy system's subject matter expert to quickly identify potential workarounds. B. Update the risk register to mark the risk as having occurred and analyze the root cause. C. Allocate funds from the contingency reserve to cover the immediate costs of the delay. D. Prepare a change request to formally document the schedule and cost impact. Answer: A. Engage the legacy system's subject matter expert to quickly identify potential workarounds. When a critical risk materializes, the most important immediate step is to contain the issue and find a resolution. The failure of a critical integration point requires technical expertise to diagnose and propose solutions. Engaging the legacy system's subject matter expert is crucial for quickly identifying potential workarounds or solutions to mitigate the immediate impact of the critical failure. While updating documentation, allocating funds, and preparing change requests are necessary follow-up steps, they do not directly address the immediate problem of fixing the unexpected system failure. Question 20. A project manager has just completed the project management plan for a new product launch. The sponsor has approved the plan, and the project is about to move into the execution phase. However, a crucial external vendor responsible for a key component unexpectedly announces they are undergoing a major organizational restructuring that might impact their ability to deliver on time. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager to take immediately? A. Inform the sponsor about the potential delay and request approval for additional contingency. B. Renegotiate the vendor contract to include new penalty clauses for delays. C. Conduct a rapid risk reassessment, specifically focusing on the vendor's situation and potential impact. D. Activate the project's pre-approved contingency plan for supply chain disruptions. Answer: C. Conduct a rapid risk reassessment, specifically focusing on the vendor's situation and potential impact. The vendor's announcement represents new information that could significantly affect a previously identified or new risk. The most appropriate immediate action is to conduct a rapid risk reassessment. This involves analyzing the probability and impact of this new information, re-evaluating the vendor as a specific risk, and determining if the existing risk response strategies are still adequate or if new ones, like identifying alternative vendors or engaging in deeper discussions, are needed. This proactive step ensures that the project manager has an updated understanding of the risk and can plan effective responses before the issue fully materializes. Question 21. A project team is using an agile approach. During a retrospective, the team identifies that external dependencies on other departments are consistently causing delays and blocking their progress in sprints. These external departments operate under a traditional functional structure and have long lead times for requests. What is the most effective strategy for the Scrum Master to address this ongoing organizational impediment? A. Coach the team to break down their user stories into smaller, more independent pieces. B. Work with the product owner to reprioritize the backlog to minimize external dependencies. C. Escalate the issue to senior management to gain commitment for improved cross-departmental collaboration. D. Facilitate direct communication between the team and the external departments to build relationships and understand their processes. Answer: D. Facilitate direct communication between the team and the external departments to build relationships and understand their processes. While minimizing dependencies or escalating are options, the Scrum Master's role emphasizes removing impediments and fostering collaboration. Facilitating direct communication between the Agile team and the external traditional departments is the most effective proactive strategy to address this ongoing impediment. This helps build relationships, improves mutual understanding of processes and constraints, and can lead to smoother information exchange and more predictable lead times, rather than simply avoiding or escalating the issue. This direct interaction helps bridge the gap between different operational models. Question 22. A project manager is leading a complex construction project. The project is currently behind schedule and over budget due to unexpected ground conditions discovered during excavation, requiring extensive rework and additional specialized equipment. The project manager has identified the need for additional funds to complete the project without compromising quality. Which type of reserve should the project manager seek approval for to address this specific unexpected cost? A. Management reserve. B. Contingency reserve. C. Schedule reserve. D. Operational reserve. Answer: A. Management reserve. Management reserves are budget amounts set aside to cover unforeseen work that is within the scope of the project but was not anticipated during planning, or for unknown risks. The unexpected ground conditions represent an unknown event. or an unmanaged known unknown that directly impacted the project's cost and schedule beyond what could be planned for. Since the project is already over budget and behind schedule, this situation calls for funds from the management reserve, which requires approval from senior management or the project sponsor, as it impacts the project's overall budget baseline. Contingency reserves are for known unknown risks, typically managed by the project manager. Question 23. A project manager is reviewing the project performance and identifies that several key stakeholders, particularly those from external regulatory bodies, have not been actively engaged. Their lack of involvement has led to some potential misinterpretations of compliance requirements, which could result in significant rework late in the project. Which PMBOK 7th performance domain is most directly impacted by this situation, and what should the project manager prioritize? A. Planning performance domain. Prioritize revisiting the scope baseline. B. Stakeholder performance domain. Prioritize enhancing stakeholder engagement strategies. C. Project work performance domain. Prioritize accelerating team performance. D. Measurement performance domain. Prioritize defining key performance indicators. Answer B. Stakeholder performance domain. Prioritize enhancing stakeholder engagement strategies. The stakeholder performance domain focuses on activities associated with stakeholders, including identification, analysis, engagement, and effective communication. The scenario clearly indicates a deficiency in active engagement of key stakeholders, leading to potential misinterpretations of compliance requirements and significant rework. This directly points to a problem within the stakeholder performance domain. The project manager's priority should be to reevaluate and enhance the strategies for engaging these critical stakeholders to ensure their needs and requirements are fully understood and incorporated, mitigating future risks and rework. Question 24. A project manager is leading a highly innovative research and development project. The project scope is inherently uncertain, and the team frequently encounters technical challenges that require exploration and experimentation. The project's primary success criteria are to discover viable solutions within a flexible budget and timeline. Which project lifecycle approach would be most appropriate for this type of project? A. Predictive lifecycle. B. Iterative lifecycle. C. Incremental lifecycle. D. Hybrid lifecycle. Answer B. Iterative lifecycle. An iterative lifecycle is best suited for projects where the scope is inherently uncertain, and the team needs to explore and experiment to define the solution. This approach allows for successive refinement of the product through multiple cycles, where each iteration focuses on a subset of features or capabilities, learning from previous cycles and gradually refining the overall product. The emphasis here is on discovery of viable solutions and exploration, making an iterative approach ideal for gradually defining the product and getting it right over several attempts. Question 25. A project manager is dealing with persistent conflicts between two senior functional managers who are key stakeholders for the project. These conflicts, rooted in departmental resource allocation disagreements, are now causing delays in decision-making and negatively impacting team morale. The project manager has attempted direct discussion and provided data, but the impasse continues. What is the most appropriate conflict resolution technique for the project manager to employ next? A. Smoothing. B. Compromising. C. Forcing. D. Collaborating. Answer D. Collaborating. Collaborating, also known as problem-solving or consensus, is the best conflict resolution technique when disagreements are persistent and impacting the project, especially among key stakeholders. This technique involves both parties working together to find a win-win solution that fully addresses everyone's concerns, often by reframing the problem. While smoothing might temporarily calm the situation and compromising finds a middle ground, win-lose/lose-win. Only collaborating seeks to integrate multiple viewpoints to find a solution that satisfies all parties, thus addressing the root cause of the resource allocation disagreements and ensuring sustainable decision-making.